Marc, you were able to raise $75,000 on Kickstarter in 3 days for your Space Command project. What was your strategy when you launched this campaign, and then what did you find worked and what did you find did not work?
Well, you know, I've sold over 100 scripts, all to the studios and the networks, and in those cases I didn't have to raise the money. For instance, when I was a producer on Sliders, we had a 22 episode order. Our budget was $1.3 million per episode. I didn't have to raise that money. So although I knew I could write, and I know I can write and direct and produce, I'd never raised funds before. I didn't know if I would succeed. So the first thing I did was I treated it as something new I had to learn. And I spent several months talking to people, learning how to do it, building a team, shooting the video, and really putting effort into the video, because that would be you know, what I'd be using to show I could do the project. And but I didn't know if it would work. I didn't know if I could raise money at all. And now we're up to 158,000. We still have several weeks, you know, a number of weeks to go. We're going to be having a panel at Comic-Con. So 158 is not our final number by any means. And so what I basically did was I realized I had to treat it with respect. And but I welcomed that. I welcomed learning a new thing, but I had no assumption that I would succeed. And going in with that attitude actually was very helpful, because then it became a continual learning process. And the main thing I also knew was that you had to be in direct communication day by day with your backers, with your audience. You couldn't just, it's not pushing the big red button and then, you know, walking away. That's I think why a lot of people fail.
Did you research other campaigns? What was your sort of due diligence?
Yeah, well, fortunately I run a roundtable of writers and directors and actors and producers, and we meet every Thursday, and we've been doing that for 19 years, and it's several thousand people. And so I put out the word to my table saying, if anyone knows about Kickstarter, please send me information. So I got a lot of response, and so I started researching successful campaigns like Double Fine and some of the things Neil Gaiman was doing, and then ultimately Neil showed me the campaign that his wife Amanda Palmer was doing. And so I was learning from that, and then just kind of course correcting as I went. And some things you do don't work, and some things you do work. And then also you build a team. And so when someone shows up who wants to help, first of all you find out what their skills are, and then you say, okay, well, let's see if they're actually going to do it rather than just talk about doing it. And what's really also amazing is how fast everything is. There's instantaneous response. And so it could be a 24/7 job if you let it, but you also have to not get exhausted, because you have to keep a clear head to be able to do your job.
How much time went into pre-planning?
It's a couple months, 2 or 3 months, yeah. And that was both shooting the video and also just, you know, reading up on Kickstarter, talking to people, learning. And but also we actually launched about a month later than we intended, simply because we had to make some further tweaks, and we were refining the project. Because also that's the other part of it. You're also working on the project as well, the series of films, and you're developing. The concept builds and grows, and people will give you input, and then you're responsive to that. It really is a very direct two-way conversation.
Now the video is excellent.
Thanks.
And I'm wondering how much time you put into planning that, because you have so many elements in it. You have the personal element where we meet you and other people in your ensemble, but then you also have the fun stuff in the background, and all of the other work that you've done.
Well, it was we put a couple months in on the video, and part of it, one thing I recognized with Kickstarter that was very, very clear, is that you have to have the personal touch. It's the person, the individual saying, hi, this is who I am, I really would like your help. It's usually one person, whether it's Double Fine or Amanda Palmer, it's usually the one-on-one. And fortunately, I was a commentator on Morning Edition for 3 years, long ago, and I've done a lot of media interviews, and so I'm very comfortable with that, and I think that helped. But also, in my campaign, it was me as a person, but it was also, this is the body of work I've done, and then the third part is, this is the team I've assembled, and it's an amazing team, and then it was the special effects shots that we were generating fresh, saying this is what we're doing is going to look like. So it wasn't just, you can look at our work from the past, but there's no telling what we're going to do now. Here's something very concrete that we generated new, specific to this project. And that was very important, because otherwise people are going to be dubious. But if you say, okay, look at this, if you like this, if you like these effect shots, if you like these actors who we're going to be casting, then you get a pretty good idea about what we're up to.
How did you choose your incentives?
That took a long time. In terms of choosing the incentives, we looked at other campaigns. We thought about ourselves as geeks and what we'd like. Because when I was a kid, Star Trek debuted, the original Star Trek, and I was a huge Star Trek fan. And they were very slow in terms of merchandising products from Star Trek initially. There were very few, and I longed for different, model kits and action figures and toy phasers and all that stuff. So I was just kind of thinking about me as a fan and what would appeal to me and what would I like to have and what would be interesting. And it was a mixture of several things, because I was thinking about the different kind of people who would be pledging to Space Command. And so there would be the fans who were just science fiction fans. They'd love to be part of this and maybe get a Space Command watch or a Space Command jacket. Then there were also the people who might be visual effects people, and maybe they want to be part of the team or they want to learn from what we're doing. So there's also the how-to aspect. So I actually posted something called the 1 Minute Film School that's about how you pitch a script, how you write a movie, how you direct a movie, with my friends and like Guillermo del Toro and my friend Michael Nankin, who directs Battlestar Galactica, in these videos talking about those things. And then there's another part of it that might be aspiring actors who might want to be part of the project. So they might want to walk-on role or a speaking role. Or there might be someone who wants to have a producer credit, and so they can put money in and get a producer credit. So I was thinking about the different reasons that someone might be interested and how they might want to participate. And those are different sort of pie wedges of the whole pie. And so you have to be mindful of that as well. That it's not one size fits all.